Can we be upstanding, please? Good evening, councillors, members of the gallery and our viewers live streaming tonight's meeting. My name's Alan Getley and I'm the Mayor of the Buloke Shire and the chairperson of tonight's meeting. It's my pleasure to welcome you all here to tonight's council meeting. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting and pay our respects to their elders and to the elders of any other communities who may be here today. Please be seated. This council meeting is being recorded and web streamed live to the council's website via YouTube. This recording will also be available on video on demand. Attendees are advised they will be recorded during the meeting. A reminder that as councillors we will act in accordance with the Councillor Model Code of Conduct, which we will support the principles of leadership and good governance and secures public confidence in the office of councillor. I'd like to introduce the councillors in attendance tonight. Councillor Stephen Barrett, Councillor Charmaine Delaney, Councillor Bernadette Hogan, Councillor Graham Milne and Councillor Bruce Stafford. I will also introduce Mr Wayne O'Toole, Chief Executive Officer and the Executive Management Team, Gaynor Atkin, Dan McLaughlin and Jenna Allen. I'd also like to welcome the Council's Governance Manager, Jennifer Hewitt. I've not received any apologies for this evening. Confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. Councillors, could I have a motion for the confirmation of the minutes of the councillor meeting held on the 19th of February 2024? Councillor Barrett.
25, Mayor.
Oh, sorry, it could be 25. Yes, we had one in 24, but we had one in 25. I didn't write this.
No,
that's all right. 25. Councillor Barrett, a seconder. Councillor Delaney. All those in favour?
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you. Leave of absence. Are there any leave of absence?
No.
No, thank you. Item 5, disclosure of pecuniary and conflicts of interest. Councillors and officers, are there any conflicts of interest to declare?
None for me, Mayor.
None that I'm aware of.
Councillors, I will declare that item 9.4.1, I will have a direct conflict with that, and I will at that time ask the Deputy Mayor to take the chair and we'll leave the chamber. 6, questions from the public. Councillors have received questions from the public for this evening's meeting. The Chief Executive Officer of the meeting will read each person who has submitted a question and their text for their question. I will answer the questions or nominate a councillor or a member of council staff to answer the question.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you we have a number of questions this evening. The first is from Brett McDonald of Witchyproof, and Mayor, it's in relation to the planning matter item 8.2.1. A question about the boundary on the west side of the premises that we objected to in the original permit application on 7 October 2024, that we do have copies of the subdivision done on 11 November 2003.
Thank you, Mr CEO. The question relates to the representation of the fence on the western allotment boundary on the plans submitted within the application. The plan shows the fence as being set in approximately 1800 millimetres to the east of the allotment boundary, which is an inaccurate representation. The fence is located on the allotment boundary. The dimensions of the allotment, known as 327 Broadway, are correctly represented, and a new plan will be requested should the planning permit be issued at the end of the decision-making process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And the second question from Mr McDonald is about stormwater. There is no indication of it on the site plan documents that was submitted with the planning permit application PA 24022.
Thank you. A number of planning permit conditions will relate to stormwater should a planning permit be issued at the end of the decision-making process. These conditions will direct that no waste, soiled, polluted or sediment-laden water to be discharged from the site into stormwater drains. A stormwater plan will be required to provide detail of the proposed stormwater management system and to provide detail to ensure the stormwater discharge from the site does not exceed the maximum allowable hydrocarbon concentrations. GWM water requires that a trade waste agreement is to be completed to GWM's water satisfaction.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Justin Trollope from Donald. The question is, does the Buloke Shire Council support Esoteric Festival as an annual event within the Buloke Shire?
Thank you. The Buloke Shire has continued to express its support for all events within the Shire, including the Esoteric Festival, for the growth and the economic benefit of our communities. Council's various service functions support events across the Shire in a wide variety of ways and have done so for the Esoteric Festival consistently since its commencement. As the responsible assessment authority, it is the Council's obligation to ensure health, safety and legislative requirements are met for every event requiring a permit.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Dale Anderson from Donald. Do you as councillors feel the decision made to refuse the event, Esoteric Festival, was the best and safest option for the community?
Thank you. The decision to refuse the place of public entertainment application for the event is outside Councillors' delegation. The decision was based on the assessment of health and safety risks identified by the Council's Municipal Building Surveyor and was supported by the State's Building Surveyor.
Thank you, Mayor. The next questions are from Jodie Hollis on behalf of Donald 2000 Incorporated. Question 1 is, how much did it cost ratepayers for council dealings with Esoteric Festival after the 2024 event until now, including legal fees, PR consultants, external contractors and all associated costs with the weekend fallout with patrons at lakes?
Total financial figures for the expenditure to Council from the 2024 festival have not been collated due to the ongoing nature of the support from particular consultants, including legal support and other required consultants since last year's event.
Thank you, Mayor. Question 2 from Jodie Hollis is, are councillors aware that Wayne Wilkie has not stepped foot on the event site since January 23rd, 2025?
It is our understanding that Wayne Wilkie himself was on site January 23rd, 2025. Councillors are aware that following this, a qualified delegate of the Municipal Building Surveyor was on the Esoteric site on the 22nd of February 2025 and again Thursday 6th of March.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Darryl Warren from Donald. The question is, in 2022, Council adopted its current governance rules through which the Council agenda for meetings are set by the Mayor and CEO. After the recent Council election in 2024, the Council meeting agenda was amended to exclude the following items from the agenda: building and planning permits, letters of congratulations. Section 60 of the Local Government Act states that a council must adopt and keep in force governance rules for or with respect to the following: A, the conduct of council meetings. Further, it goes on to say a council may amend its governance rules. Subject to subsection 5, a council must ensure that a process of community engagement is followed in developing or amending its governance rules. In respect of the changes made to the governance rules for the December 24, February 25 and March 25 meetings, can you advise who made the decision to amend or alter the governance rules and under what authority did they decide not to undertake the required period of community engagement to do so? And when will the Minister and the Local Government Inspectorate be advised that Buloke Shire is now in breach of the Local Government Act?
Within Council's governance rules, in determination of the agenda, the CEO is required to consult the Mayor and will consider 5 points, including point E and any other relevant factors that may impact the fluent and open process of government of Council. The rule states, as a guide, the CEO should list items giving priority to the list of agenda items options. In relation to the exclusion of letters of congratulations and planning permits issued under the delegated authority for the December, February and March Council meeting, it was a decision made by the CEO in consultation with the Mayor as indicated within the Council governance rules. Councillors were consulted on the points throughout the Councillor induction training held in November. These 2 points were also raised at the February public meeting and addressed by Council staff. The decision making was made on the basis of the following: letters of congratulations and achievements are best received directly from councillors through councillor reports to prevent any further inconsistencies in the approach of the application of these acknowledgements across the vast community. Planning matters that require decisions are of public interest and are brought to Council as a report when required. Alternatively, regular planning approvals will be brought to councillors through councillor briefings to comply with the relevant planning and building legislations. Council is currently taking submissions from the public for the governance rules to be compiled in line with contemporary standards. Council is waiting further legal advice to collate and brief councillors of the outcome of the period of public exhibition. To our understanding, councillors are not in breach of the Local Government Act. Thank you. Item 7, procedural items. Report of councillor assemblies. Councillor, is there a motion to receive the councillor assemblies? Councillor Hogan, seconder. Councillor Milne. Any discussion? All those in favour? Councillor Milne.
Through you, Mr Mayor, on page 9, in the draft governance rules and draft election period policy report, it suggests there that, and this is where some of the confusion might have arose for tonight, that presentations in support of written submissions would be heard at this council meeting. Is there a new date that has been advertised for public submission to be presented to council, please?
Miss Allen. It has to come to the lectern, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Milne. In relation to the governance rules for public exhibition, we have been delayed due to legal advice at the current time, so I haven't advertised it publicly, Council haven't advertised it publicly yet, but we will have to go to the April meeting, unfortunately. So we do apologise to the general public for not advertising that sooner. We are still accepting submissions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Allen. Thank you.
Nothing further.
No,
all those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 7.2, status of action of past council meetings resolutions. Councillors, is there a motion to receive the status of action of past council meeting resolutions, please? Councillor Stafford. Councillor Milne. Any discussion? All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 8.1, general business, policy reports. There are no policy reports this evening. 8.2, management reports. 8.21, planning application PA 24022, use and development of land for a service station. I understand that I have some speakers to this tonight, and I'll have to in turn come to the lectern. Their statements only. There'll be no questions and no debate will be entered into.
Mayor, through you, Tamara Broadsmith is online this evening, so we can call Tamara through to present to council on the matter.
All right. So Tamara, are you there? Yes, you are. Speakers will be given 4 minutes. So Tamara, away you go.
Not hearing you by the sound.
No, she's frozen by the look at it on my screen.
Mayor, I would suggest that we perhaps go to the next speaker while we sort our connection with Tamara.
The second member of the public, Anne Jury of Witchyproof.
Thank you, Mayor Allen and the councillors, and to Wayne, CEO. I just want to talk about the planning permit, PA 24022. By the way, Witchyproof is spelt W-Y-C-H-E, not W-H-Y-C-H-E, etc. I believe that the permit should not be granted for the following reasons.
Point of order, please. Sorry, Anne.
Yep.
Is Tamara able to hear this?
We are not seeing any.
Sorry, Anne.
Oh, she's
No, that's
moving
fine.
now.
Moving now.
Tamara, can you hear us?
Is she on?
Is the Mayor's microphone on mute, perhaps? It's on mute here on the screen, right?
You can't hear us, Tamara?
Saying no. Taking a hit, no.
No, everyone is on mute from my view.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, got it off there now. Now, can you hear us now, Tamara? Sorry, Anne, we've just got some
No, that's
technical
fine.
difficulties here.
You need to adjourn a couple of minutes and sort of that.
Yeah, I think that's what let's just adjourn the meeting for a period of time until we establish connection.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll just adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes to see if we can establish connection.
Yep.
Sorry. The meeting is adjourned now for 5 minutes. I will reconvene the meeting. We will go to Tamara, as she was the first speaker, if that's all right with you, Anne, and then we'll bring you in straight after that.
So Tamara, up to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I did just lose you for a little while there, and so I'm sorry I haven't heard any of the previous speakers. I'll just jump in. My name is Tamara Broadsmith of James Goldsworthy Consulting. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the proposal. To summarise, the application proposes the reuse of the existing building and the existing site features for the purpose of a service station. The site features, including existing crossovers, hard stand areas and canopy, are generally fit for purpose, having remained much the same since the previous use of the site for a service station. While the service station is designed to provide a fuelling option limited to smaller vehicles, the planning permit application has been supported by swept path diagrams showing the capacity for the delivery of fuel by articulated vehicles. From the numerous submissions and the council officer's report, it is understood that the key concerns of the proposal are related to vehicle movements, in particular increased traffic, the capacity of the site and surrounding streets to accommodate large vehicles for fuel delivery, the potential for illegal vehicle movements and pedestrian safety. As mentioned, the service station is designed to cater for small vehicles, with large vehicles to only access the site to deliver fuel. The capacity of the underground fuel storage tanks is to be approximately 110,000, with delivery of fuel expected to be only required approximately once every 10 days. Noting that it is not financially feasible to receive more frequent deliveries of smaller quantities. Webster Street, Dempsey Street and John Street are all identified by the Heavy Vehicle National Regulator as within Victoria's gazetted B-double network and Victoria's Higher Mass Limits network, and are capable of accommodating B-doubles. The site abuts land that is in a transport zone and includes both Broadway and Calder Highway. The proposal therefore required the referral to Head Transport for Victoria, who did not object to the proposal. Included in the conditions required by Transport for Victoria is a functional plan that demonstrates the turning movements of large vehicles and a road safety audit which must be approved by Transport for Victoria before any further works can commence. The conditions ensure that a thorough assessment of traffic-related matters will be undertaken should a permit be issued. Concern regarding the impacts on the amenity of nearby businesses and residents is another key issue raised by the submission and the officer's report. The land is within the Commercial 1 zone, which is the highest order commercial zone and gives primacy to commercial uses. It is noted that the subject land is approximately 65 metres from the township zone, with the land zone Commercial 1 all the way up to Dempsey Street. It is also noted that the existing BP is within a township zone, and it is submitted that the Commercial 1 zone is a much more appropriate zone for a use of this nature. I further add that service stations must operate under strict EPA, WorkSafe and Dangerous Goods Act regulations to ensure protection of the environment and public health. A number of submissions raise concerns over the impact on local businesses. I remind councillors that private economics, commercial advantage and avoidance of competition are illegitimate planning grounds, as established in the tribunal hearing of Vernier and others versus the City of South Melbourne in 1988. And reiterated...
Tamara, that's your 4 minutes there, I'm afraid, so thank you for that.
I'm sorry, I wasn't made aware I only had 4 minutes. I thought it was 5 minutes.
You might not have heard it at the start. But we've got
it's a 4 minute time on statements. I'm sorry.
Can I just summarise quickly?
All right,
I'll let you do that.
Thank you. I guess the most important point is that the proposal generates economic activity, which can only be seen as a good thing. Traffic-related matters will be dealt with by strict analysis from Department of Transport, Transport for Victoria, and the proposal completely aligns with the purpose of the zone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your submission. Thank you.
And we will now come back to you, please.
Thank you, Alan, as Mayor, and the councillors and CEO. Re the planning permit. Tamara, I just want to say Witchy Proof is spelt with W-Y-C-H-E proof, not W-H-Y-C-H. I believe that the permit should not be granted for the following reasons. We do have 2 fuel depots that offer 24-hour fuel availability and an on-farm delivery service. This is quite adequate for our town and those that are travelling through. The biggest concern we have is the traffic movement for the proposed development. We already have a very confusing road plan which sees traffic unfamiliar with the road plan travelling in wrong directions daily. We also have the train line to consider and the potential for an accident with increased confused traffic movements. The train line is not decommissioned as the plan showed. We may see 2 trains a day and at 7 days a week and then not see a train for a month, so we cannot prepare anyone for their movements. There have been several accidents and near misses where a car pulls out of Broadway onto the Calder Highway with not looking properly. For those who are unaware, the Calder Highway is the responsibility of VicRoads and Broadway the Buloke Shires. For those travelling south looking for fuel, it would be their instinct to turn at the intersection of Broadway and Webster Street, which would mean they would need to travel down the wrong side of Broadway to access the proposed service station. This happens already when people wish to access the bakery. I did ask someone about it and they said Google sent them that way. The correct way to enter would be to travel down as far as Jubilee Street and then to travel north up Broadway. I also wonder how congested Broadway would be if, for example, 2 or more cars with caravans wait for fuel. Given the size of the area, there is potential for these vehicles to block the vehicle access of Broadway for residents and patrons of the businesses on this side. This would cause those that are blocked in to perform illegal manoeuvres to get back onto the Calder Highway. I'm still confused with the drawings for the pedestrian crossing. If we were to follow the plan, school children and people would need to cross the Calder and then walk in front of cars to access the pedestrian crossing on Broadway. As of now, the pedestrians cross in a straight line from the Calder to the pavement on Broadway. There were tactile ties to indicate this, but these have not been replaced when our streetscape plan was done. The crossing is not manned, so it is up to everyone to fend for themselves. The sweat path analysis 2 drawing shows a semi-trailer trying to exit via Webster Street using the wrong side of the road. I don't believe this should be possible given how narrow the road is, and if a car or emergency vehicle was trying to exit onto Broadway, they would not be able. This is not a one-way street. Another issue not addressed in the response of the applicant is the boundary on the west side of the building. Brett has brought this up, but I believe a brick building needs to be 4.7 metres from a boundary, which if this is applied, as in the plan, the boundary would be on the land of the neighbours. The title of the land was changed in 2003 when the service station was decommissioned. Also, the stormwater and the concrete wash bay water would have originally been directed into a pit, which was on the neighbouring land and has since been dug out.
1 minute, please, Anne.
Storm water from this building now runs into the bakery and the neighbouring property on the west. I believe that with all the submissions and everything that people have petitioned, that we really don't need this in town. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. The third member of the public is Brett McDonald from Witchyproof. Brett is also here in person, and I now invite Brett to the lectern to address the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Ann, Ellen, CEO and councillors, allow me to talk. The letter of proposal of use of 327 Broadway service station associated development subject site location within Zone 1. In order the proposed application of C is used, land must not determine neighbourhoods or including through transport materials, good commodities or from the land. Emissions, noises, affiliation, light, vibration, smell, fumes, smoke, vapour, steam, soot, ash dust, wastewater, waste products, grit or oil. The proposed operation at 5 a.m. to 11 will result in increased noise, odours associated with convenience goods and motor oil, affiliated light emanating from the subjects and may approach purpose development on the outskirts of the township. However, it is not. And the land use in the north, south and west of subject sites are sensitive in residential and bakery and cafe. These lands used are already well impact by proposed use of developing allowed. It is noted that it is not publicly available traffic impact assessment, noise report, engineering report or contaminant management report available for public view, right? Nor is there any mention of how these things managed should be application be approved, right? Written in James Gosworth notes, the petrol station will provide jobs, right, and good community and therefore acceptable. The same report states that at least one job will be created which will require a worker possibly to work 17 hours, right, making the proposed hours more or less illegal under the Retail Act, right. The salesman falls under. Even on the service station with the properly staffed and 2 other field companies approving, this proposal will result in oversupply, apparently creating and the only one long-term job for town. Now going back to the original plans, right, the sweep line which Anne brought up on the west side, right, they're stating on page 6 of Getley's thing that it's about 5.9. Now where the boundary stands at the moment is exactly 5 metres, and it only gives you that about 6 inches, 8 inches from the power pole. For a truck to swing out through there, and I'll be honest with you, we'll either take out my boundary fence or it will possibly go straight over the curbing that is between their boundary and our driveway. Okay? Other than that, I've got no more to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Final member of the public registered to speak this evening is Stephen Lane of Witchyproof. Stephen is here in person, and I invite you, Stephen, to the lectern to now speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, CEO. As an objector to the planning permit sought for the proposed service station at 327 Broadway, I'd like to reiterate our objection to that proposal which we submitted in writing. While I'm sure these objections are not unique and have been echoed by many other objectors, I feel they bear repeating. Without going into fine detail, our objection spoke to the potential safety concerns for both pedestrians and other road users given the location and difficult access to and from the property. The potential reduction of amenity in the form of an increase in traffic and noise for patrons of the bakery and to ourselves as neighbours to the property and others in the vicinity, potentially and particularly in the very early morning, as I note that the opening hours are intended to be from 5 a.m. We also question the benefit, if any, to the community from this development, given that outside of some small employment opportunity, any profit from the business would go to some outside corporate identity and excuse me, leave the community altogether. Having said that, I note that the planning officers have recommended the permit be refused, citing all these concerns and others. I therefore strongly urge the Council accept and act on that recommendation and refuse the granting of the planning permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all those who have presented this evening on this matter. Councillors, do I have a motion for this planning permit application item, please? Councillor Barrett?
Yeah, what's the motion?
What's your motion, please, Councillor Barrett? What is the motion, please?
That we accept the recommendations put forward to us by our council staff.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Milne. Councillor Barrett, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Yeah, I've got mixed views about this because I realise we do need building income in our town, but in this case I'm in agreement with the recommendations by our staff that we refuse this application.
Thank you. Councillor Milne, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I've read with great interest the report that's been put up by the planning department for this service station proposal, and I guess with all the information that's been provided, it does worry me that the location is not as suitable as it could be for a service station to do the things that has been suggested it might want to do, service longer vehicles and operate those hours in the middle of town where you're directly affecting other members of the public, neighbours and and the ability of business during the day to go forth and do what they do to the best of their ability so that they can make the most of their opportunity. I think it has been stated that there are other opportunities for fuel within the town. It is just unfortunate that this one, by the applicant, is in a highly unsuitable location, and I support the idea that it not go ahead on that location, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Milne. Are there any councillors in opposition to the motion? Are there any other councillors wishing to speak in support of the motion? Councillor Hogan.
Just reiterating the councillor officer's notes, the service station does not provide any net community benefit to the town of Wycheproof. The town is not deficient in fuel supply. Public submissions have all identified that traffic and pedestrian safety concerns outweigh the availability of fuel at this location. And I think it's very apparent that the public are not, the local community are not in support of this application, and there doesn't seem to be a need for the new fuel station. So I'm happy to support the recommendation of LNC.
Thank you, Councillor Hogan. Any other councillor? Councillor Stafford.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I share the same concerns that some of our speakers have raised tonight around pedestrian safety, around the concerns with the swept vehicle analysis, which clearly shows that there'd be issues with large vehicles, and Councillor Hogan's already indicated that there really doesn't appear to be any economic benefit to Wycheproof at all. So I think it's in the best interest that we deny the permit.
Councillor Delaney, would you like to add anything? Or
No, I feel that all councillors have covered all points quite adequately. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll put that to the vote. So all those in favour of the motion put forward by Councillor Barrett to deny the permit as per the recommendation? No. That's unanimous. That's carried. Thank you. 8.3, financial reports. Councillors, there are no financial reports this evening. 8.4, organisational reports. 8.4.1, Municipal Monitor's report. Councillors, the report outlines the appointment of the Municipal Monitor in May 2024, the terms of reference of the Monitor, the Municipal Monitor's report that was released in February 2025, the direction from the Minister of Local Government to provide biannual reports for 2 years on the implementation of the actions requiring councillors' attention, and noting the cost to council from the appointment of the Monitor. Do I have a motion for the Monitor's report, please? Councillor Hogan, and a seconder. Councillor Delaney. Councillor Hogan, would you like to speak to this?
No, I'm happy that the council note the minister's report.
Thank you. Councillor Delaney.
I'm happy with the minister's report.
Any other discussion? Councillor Milne.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. This is noting the report on our behalf, but it does give the opportunity for our ratepayer base and citizens, people who live here, to view this and at least get the full bottle on what it's all about. So I urge the public to have a good look at this, read it, and when and if there's an opportunity to give feedback.
Thank you, Councillor Milne. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Thank you. 8.5, 8.51, councillor reports. Do we have any items of councillor reports this evening? Councillor Hogan, will go from your side.
Quite a few things I attended this month, which were really good. The Birchip P12 School Leaders Induction. Congratulations to the young students that took on those roles of leadership. Also, the Birchip Trops Committee and the Marley Heart Festival Committee did a great job on the long weekend, and just like to commend them on all the work that they put in. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Delaney.
I've already lodged mine, thank you.
Councillor Barrett?
No, not at this time, thanks. Mayor?
Yeah. Councillor Stafford?
Yeah, I've just got a couple of things. I recently received an email from a Charlton resident and artist, David Beattie, in relation to a weaving workshop he conducted in conjunction with the Shire's community recovery team. I won't read out the entire email, but he did ask me to highlight the encouragement and assistance he received from the community recovery team and requested that I, quote, note the dedication and work of these staff at the next council meeting. So there's some really positive feedback there, which has been passed on to the staff. I also understand that the state and federal government funding for the community recovery projects facilitated by this team is now close to being fully expended, and their work's going to be winding up over the coming weeks. So I think it's a fitting time to formally acknowledge and thank the community recovery team for the wonderful work they've done in restoring community wellbeing following those October 2022 floods. And on the subject of floods, there's one other thing. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the work of the Australian Red Cross Buloke Emergency Services volunteer team. Now, full disclosure, I'm a former Red Cross employee and a current volunteer, and whilst I don't want to pat myself on the back, I do think it's worth highlighting how much this team has achieved. In recent weeks, several members of this team, all from Charlton, have been deployed to assist in recovery efforts following the devastating floods in far north Queensland in late January and early February, as well as some current and ongoing deployments following ex-tropical cyclone Alfred. And my involvement with Red Cross has given me the opportunity to witness the outstanding work this team's done and to hear some really remarkable feedback about the impact they're having on disaster recovery efforts across Australia. Last year, in one of our community updates, we acknowledged that team for their recognition they received at the annual Victorian Red Cross Awards. They just received a distinguished team award. And while they're a small team from a small shire, they're becoming well known and respected in Red Cross circles. And in doing so, they're really shining a positive light on Buloke Shire, even if only in a small way, and for all the right reasons. And I think that's particularly welcome, given some of the recent negative attention we've been receiving lately. So I think their efforts truly need to be noted.
Thank you, Councillor Stafford. Councillor Milne.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. A couple of things. I have sent a report in that hasn't been able to be received at this point in time, but our team behind us are working on that, so I'll run through it. Attended the RFA, Rail Freight Alliance AGM in Docklands on the 14th of February. The AGM saw the change of guard from Glenn Milne Mildura as chair to Michael Carr, and Katrina Rainsford took over as deputy chair from Ron Eason, who failed the last election. The general meeting, there was a number of items discussed, and one of them that I've brought to a briefing is that current membership value is $2,500, and because of COVID and other reasons, and if this Rail Freight Alliance is to keep going with its work, and I might add it's done some good work, and for those that aren't in the know, it's led by Executive Officer Reid Mather, our former Mayor and Councillor here. So there'll be a need to raise the membership cost to $6,010. That needs to be discussed at budget, no doubt. $104,000 has been obtained to do work on maintenance throughout the state for all rail. I don't know how far $104,000 will go across the network, but we'll see. And 75,000 sleepers are going to be replaced on the Yalta Mildura to Maryborough line this coming year. We're also asked to advocate for rail crossings that are somewhat dangerous within our area and beyond. And in the past, we've included the rail crossing north of Lelbert on the Swan Hill Donald Road, and we've been asked to renominate that one as a dangerous crossing, which we'll get to. 17th of February, I attended the Birchip Forum, usual general business, as well as library review concerns and budget submissions discussions. A report on that has been sent in. A letter from the Donald History Society regarding markers and signs for the original Donald site location received from Brian Brazier, and I think we've acknowledged that at other times as well. Inter-council meeting at Charlton with the view to form an alliance together, working together on wind farms, mainly transmission lines, but wind farms and mines, etc. The announcement has been in the papers recently of the setup of that particular alliance. Attended the Wimmera Mallee Environment Agricultural Protection Board meeting in Warwickville. This is the second one that they've had. I attended just as a councillor and as support for our ratepayers who are either for or against. Missed the Buloke tourism meeting, had something else on, so it was an apology for that. We've had a budget workshop, Donald Rec Reserve, committee meetings, and there's a number of things that have come out of that with submissions for budget being submitted. Donald Forum, general discussions on the same night, Donald Forum as Rec Reserve. So general discussion on McCulloch Street and Moore Street ceiling and some other budget type initiatives that might come along. GWM has 90 megs of treated water now that the sewage farm has been updated over there and they're looking for a use for that. There's a number of other things in there, with the Deb Ball probably being the next major undertaking of Donald 2000. We've done our council plan workshop. We've had our special council meeting on the 3rd of March. 4th of March we had the Sunraysia Highway Improvement Committee at St Arnaud. Main topics there were, seeking funding federally, given that there's an election coming up, and a recent accident at the Five Ways intersection in Birchip, which is one of our major points on the Sunraysia Highway Improvement Committee wish list. We talked about the slashing program, and the last couple of things, Nandaly briefing, Watch and Progress Committee on the 11th. And on Saturday, I attended a CFA Awards ceremony in Donald. And I guess the main thing to come out of that, and I recommend this person for a certificate of appreciation, is for the act of bravery by Captain Brad Burke of the Jeff Butt Fire Brigade, who rescued a fellow truck driver on the Warrenook to St Arnaud Road during harvest. Brad witnessed the accident, saw the truck hit the tree, saw the truck catch fire, and managed to drag the driver of the truck, who had lodged himself between the two seats, was covered in grain up to his shoulders that had spilled over from the truck. And if anybody's ever tried to pull anybody out of grain, you'll just know how difficult that was. And the man was a big man, but Brad got him out. So I would recommend that we send a certificate of appreciation to Brad for that, Mr Mayor, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Milne. Just my report, just with regard to the normal duties and the Mayor's duties. I'd just like to highlight the Central Murray Transport Group that we belong to. I attended with Mr McLaughlin as they released their strategy going forward. I'll present that to all councillors once it's been amended and put round. I can report that Councillor Milne, the Five Ways intersection is in that report. But it was a very good meeting, well attended and good discussions. The other one I want to highlight is the long weekend esoteric festival. First of all, we all know what happened. I'm not going into that, but I just want to congratulate the staff that did a hell of a job on that weekend at Warrenook. There were a lot of people out there. I attended Warrenook 2 days. I walked around the crowd, I spoke with the crowd, I spoke with a number of people, and they were all highly praised for the staff. It was an unfortunate situation, but the staff handled it very well, and I think that there should be some recognition to the staff and the work they've done, and I have passed that on to the Mayor. So just those two things. Thank you.
He's the Mayor, I'm the CEO.
Sorry?
You said you passed on to the Mayor. I think you might have...
Oh, passed on to the CEO, yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that. Councillor Bill, I was a bit confused.
Sorry, yeah, that's all right. 9, other business, notice of motions. I have none. 9.2, questions from councillors. Councillors, do you have any questions this evening? And there, Councillor Milne.
Thank you. Just a couple, and I'm happy for these to be taken on, or one's a question, can be taken on notice. Is there any further activity that is going on to do with VCAT and the decision for Wilka, West Wind Wilka transmission line? I'm happy for that to...
Yeah, if we may take that on notice.
To go on notice and just give us an update on when that hearing might be, please. And the other thing that to do with wind farms, I'm just amused that I read in the Buloke Times that the Charlton Wind Farm information, the Corac Wind Farm information session is being held in Charlton when the actual wind farm is between Donald, Witcherproof and Birchip, and there's a perfectly good hall at Corac that could probably cope with that particular meeting, but I guess just means that people are going to be more inconvenienced to go and participate in that forum. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other councillors with questions? No, thank you. 9.3 urgent business. We do not have any urgent business tonight. 9.4 any other business, and 9.41 is interstate travel. For myself at this stage, I'll declare a conflict of interest in this, and I'll ask the Deputy Mayor to take the chair, and I shall vacate the chamber.
All right, thank you. So 9.4 is any other business. As the Mayor indicated, it's interstate travel for Councillor Getley himself. Councillor's request for interstate travel for Councillor Getley has been made for the purpose of travelling interstate to attend the Australian Local Government Association, ALGA, National General Assembly, which also incorporates the Regional Cooperation and Development Forum being held in Canberra in June 2025. Can I have a motion? Do I have a motion to request for the request for interstate travel, please?
Yeah.
Councillor Barrett?
Yeah, put a motion.
Thank you. A seconder for that. Councillor Delaney, thank you. Speakers?
Yeah, obviously this is an event that the Mayor should go to hopefully get some feedback from federal government and lobby. So I believe it's a worthwhile, especially with election coming up, worthwhile that we take advantage of those sort of situations. So yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. Councillor Delaney?
I agree with Councillor Barrett's recommendations, and definitely a viable visit.
I think they made the most of the trip last year, so I'm hoping they'll do the same again this year.
Yes, thank you,
Are there any councillors in opposition to this motion? Corporate. We've heard any other councillor in support? Anybody else would like to speak?
I'm happy to support. It was quite a productive trip last year, I think, and so it'd be good to be able to keep those alliances in place.
Thank you, Councillor Hogan. There's no other speakers for. Put that to the vote. All in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. We will get the Mayor back in.
Get the Mayor back. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Thank you, Deputy.
No trouble. Somebody can tell me the bad news?
Yeah, Mayor, as you return to the chamber, I'm pleased to let you know that that motion was passed unanimously as recommended by the officers. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Milne. Uh, 9.5, matters which may exclude the public. There are no confidential matters to be considered this evening, which brings us to item 10, meeting closed. That concludes the meeting for this evening, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you all for your attendance, and you're quite welcome to come again and listen to a riveting council meeting if you so desire. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.